Take a look. Let her point. She's pointing. She's having a good time. She's celebrating with the fans after a win. And here comes the fun police.
I mean, they just came back with a vengeance.
Look, why are you knocking her arm down? They like fall back. Sometimes y'all just gotta fall back.
And I mean, they just came back with a vengeance.
Look, you hitting her, push her arm down. Like, bro, y'all gotta.
Nothing hurts a sports league like self-sabotage, and the WNBA just gave us a masterclass. ESPN replaced Sunday Night Baseball with Women's Sports Sundays, betting big on the WNBA to fill prime time. 3 weeks in, the numbers are out and they're ugly. We're talking a 2 million viewer gap between what they had and what they've got now. But before we break down the viewership crater, we need to talk about what happened courtside in Indiana, because it's the perfect snapshot of everything wrong with how this league treats its stars. Sophie Cunningham, the Phoenix Mercury guard, just helped the Indiana Fever win a game. She's celebrating with her signature point to the crowd, the blonde bomber doing what stars do. And then the fun police showed up. Indiana Fever assistant coaches literally slapped her arm down mid-celebration. I'm going to show you the exact moment, and then we're going to connect the dots between policing players and tanking your own product. Buckle up.
And this goes back to when y'all was doing all of this. You got Bree January, who thought she was the fun police. Sophie Cunningham had to tell her to beat it. Like, y'all have got to get. We don't need y'all policing everything, okay? Or this is not high school. This is that. Relax. This is unnecessary. Y'all been doing too much. She had to tell you, relax. Look, get up out of my face. Go away. She told her, go away. Indiana Fever assistants, y'all got to find something else to do.
You just watched it. Sophie Cunningham is pointing to the fans, her signature move, the thing that gives her personality, the thing that makes casual fans remember her name, and Indiana Fever assistant coaches come in hot, knocking her arm down like she's a rookie who just committed a technical foul. This is after a win. This is a celebration moment, and the coaching staff decided this was the hill to die on. Here's what makes this so much worse. This isn't the first time. This is a pattern. By January, the former WNBA player turned assistant coach has made a habit of this. She's the fun police captain. Every time a player tries to have a moment, here comes Bri January or Karima Christmas-Kelly popping up like the Undertaker from under the ring trying to shut it down. And Sophie Cunningham has had enough.
Okay, now here's where things get tricky, and the word semantics. So they're gonna tell you, hey, it's up, 1 million viewers, it's up. Now remember what it replaced. Sunday Night Baseball is averaging substantially more viewers. They got rid of it. Sunday Night Baseball is averaging substantially more viewers, though. That shouldn't come as much of a surprise considering NBC airs games over the air on a Nielsen-only basis. Sunday Night Baseball averaged 2.71 million viewers over the same 3 weeks, rising to 3.1 million average viewers when including Adobe Analytics measured streaming on Peacock.
Y'all got to find something else to do. That's what Sophie told them, and she's right. The WNBA has a branding problem. Nobody outside the hardcore fan base knows these players' personalities. You want to grow the league, you need stars with signature moves, with swagger, with moments that go viral. The NFL doesn't tell Travis Kelce to stop celebrating. The NBA didn't tell Stephen Curry to stop the night-night gesture. But the WNBA, they're out here policing a point to the crowd. And this is the same league that wonders why viewership is tanking. Which brings us to the second half of this story, and it's way uglier than a sideline confrontation. ESPN made a massive programming bet. They took Sunday Night Baseball, a property that NBC now pays $200 million a year for, and replaced it with Women's Sports Sundays, anchored by WNBA games. 3 weeks in, we've got the numbers, and the gap is staggering. According to Awful Announcing, Women's Sports Sundays is averaging 1 million viewers through 3 weeks. The best game so far, Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces, 1.6 million viewers. That sounds decent, right? Viewership up 53% from last season's WNBA average on ESPN. Up 3% from last season's Indiana Fever games. ESPN is spinning this as a win. But here's the part they bury in the fine print. Sunday Night Baseball over the same 3-week window averaged 2.71 million viewers on NBC. When you include streaming on Peacock, that number rises to 3.1 million. Let me say that again, ESPN gave up a property that was pulling 3.1 million viewers and replaced it with a product that's pulling 1 million. That's a 2 million viewer loss every single week.
Good, and I think this whole situation with Caitlin Clark plays a major role in this whole situation. ESPN, this Sunday night women's sports thing, has lost them 2 million viewers on average. This is crazy. This is all crazy. Had y'all built the league up right, leaned into the superstar in Caitlin Clark, you might not be having this problem. You might not be having this problem.
Now ESPN and their media partners are trying to clean this up. They're saying, well, NBC pays $200 million a year for Sunday Night Baseball, but the entire WNBA media rights deal split across 6 media companies is only $280 million annually. So even though we're losing 2 million viewers, we're spending way less, so it's actually smart business. And you know what? On a pure cost per viewer basis, maybe they have a point, but that's not the full story. Because ESPN still has MLB rights, they just moved those games to less favorable time slots. Weekend afternoons, non-prime windows, and guess what those games are averaging? 1.6 million viewers. The exact same number as the best WNBA game on Women's Sports Sundays. So ESPN took their premium Sunday night slot, downgraded it by 2 million viewers. And the baseball games they moved to worse slots are matching the WNBA best performance. Last year, ESPN's most-watched Sunday night baseball game, Dodgers vs. Yankees, pulled 2.73 million viewers. This year, their most-watched baseball game on ESPN was Yankees vs. Royals on Memorial Day afternoon, 1.6 million. The WNBA ceiling is matching baseball's floor when you take baseball out of prime time. Let's do the math one more time because this is the part that should terrify WNBA leadership. Women's Sports Sundays, 1 million viewers average. Sunday Night Baseball on NBC, 2.71 million average, 3.1 million with streaming. The gap is over 2 million viewers per week. Over the course of a season, that's a viewership crater you can see from space. And here's the kicker, this is happening in a year when the WNBA should be capitalizing on the Caitlin Clark effect. Caitlin Clark, the Iowa superstar, the player who broke every college basketball viewership record, the player who had casual fans tuning into women's basketball for the first time in their lives. She's in the league now. She's on the Indiana Fever. And instead of building the entire league around her, instead of leaning into the superstar who could have been the face of Women's Sports Sundays, the WNBA has spent the season letting veterans take shots at her, letting physical play go unchecked, and letting the narrative become, Caitlin Clark is getting hazed, instead of Caitlin Clark is must-see TV.
Take a look. Let her point. She's pointing. She's having a good time. She's celebrating with the fans after a win. And here comes the fun police.
I mean, they just came back with a vengeance.
Look, why are you knocking her arm down? Like, fall back. Sometimes y'all just got to fall back.
And I mean, they just came back with a vengeance.
Look, you hitting her, push her arm down. Like, bro, y'all got to.
Had the league built it up right, leaned into the superstar in Caitlin Clark, you might not be having this problem. That's the bottom line. The WNBA had a generational talent walk through the door, a player who could have been the anchor of ESPN's entire Sunday night strategy. And instead of protecting her, promoting her, building storylines around her, the league let the old guard treat her like a threat instead of an asset. And that brings us full circle to Sophie Cunningham getting her arm slapped down by assistant coaches, because it's the same disease. The WNBA has a culture problem. It's a league that punishes personality, that polices celebration, that treats star power like a problem to be managed instead of a product to be sold. You can't build a fan base when your own coaching staffs are telling players to stop connecting with the crowd. You can't grow viewership when you're more worried about veterans' feelings than about putting your best product on the floor. Let's compare this to how the NFL handles stars. When Travis Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs win, Kelce is doing the Archer celebration, he's screaming into cameras, he's giving sound bites that go viral on every platform. The NFL doesn't send assistant coaches to tell him to calm down. They put him on every promo. They build the brand around the moments. The NBA does the same thing. LeBron James, Steph Curry, Giannis Antetokounmpo, they're encouraged to have signature celebrations, to build their personal brands because the league understands that star power drives viewership. But the WNBA, they've got Bride January and Karima Christmas Kelly acting like high school principals, shutting down anything that might make a player too big for the system. And the result is exactly what you'd expect. A league that can't break through to casual fans, a league that's losing a 2 million viewer battle to baseball in non-prime slots, a league that's fumbling the Caitlin Clark era in real time. Here's what should have happened. ESPN announces Women's Sports Sundays. The entire campaign is built around Caitlin Clark. Watch the future of basketball every Sunday night. You run promos showing her deep threes, her no-look passes, her Iowa highlights, her debut games. You build storylines, Caitlin versus Ajah Wilson, Caitlin versus the vets, Caitlin chasing Rookie of the Year. You make her the face of the product the same way the NFL made Patrick Mahomes the face of Sunday Night Football. And when Sophie Cunningham hits a big shot and points to the crowd, you let her. You encourage it. You put that clip in the next week's promo. You build a league where players have permission to be larger than life. Because that's what sells. That's what gets the casual fan to stop scrolling and start watching. Instead, we've got assistant coaches playing fun police, we've got a league that's allergic to its own star power, and we've got ESPN losing 2 million viewers every Sunday because they bet on a product that refuses to market itself properly. The numbers don't lie. 1 million viewers for Women's Sports Sundays. 2.71 million for Sunday Night Baseball. That's not a rounding error. That's not a small gap. That's a catastrophic loss of audience, and it's happening because the WNBA is finding every possible way to tank its own stock. And look, I'm not saying the WNBA should fold. I'm not saying women's basketball doesn't deserve primetime slots. What I'm saying is this: if you're going to take a premium time slot away from a product that pulls 3 million viewers, you better come correct. You better have your best foot forward. You better be selling star power, building narratives, letting your players be personalities. And the WNBA is doing the opposite. They're policing celebrations. They're letting the old guard marginalize the new stars. They're fumbling the bag in every way possible. Caitlin Clark should be the biggest story in basketball right now. Women's sports Sundays should be appointment viewing. Sophie Cunningham should be free to point at the crowd without getting her arm slapped down by assistant coaches who think their job is to keep players humble instead of helping them shine. But that's not the league we've got. We've got a league that's down 2 million viewers from what ESPN gave up to put them in prime time. We've got a league where the coaching staff is more worried about policing a celebration than building a brand. And we've got a generational talent in Caitlin Clark who could have been the face of this entire movement. And instead, she's getting elbowed, undercut, and treated like a problem by the very people who should be rolling out the red carpet. The WNBA had a chance. ESPN gave them the platform. Caitlin Clark gave them the star. And 3 weeks in, the numbers are telling us exactly what happens when you waste both. 2 million viewers walked away. And unless something changes, unless the league starts celebrating its stars instead of policing them, unless they start building around Caitlin Clark instead of letting the vets tear her down, unless they fire the fun police and hire some people who understand how to sell a product, those 2 million viewers aren't coming back. Tomorrow, I'm dropping a full breakdown of what the WNBA needs to do to fix this, the 3 moves that could turn this around before the season's over. You're not going to want to miss it, because if they don't make changes now, this viewership gap is only going to get worse. Sophie Cunningham should be pointing at the crowd. Caitlin Clark should be the face of every WNBA promo. And women's sports Sundays should be pulling numbers that justify taking Sunday Night Baseball off the air. Right now, none of that is happening, and the 2 million viewer gap is the proof. Drop a comment right now on a scale of 1 to 10. What's your confidence that the WNBA can turn this around? Give me a number. Best take gets pinned. For more of the best basketball breakdowns on YouTube, stick with us. We'll see you in the next one.
And this goes back to when y'all was doing all of this. You got Bree January, who thought she was the fun police. Sophie Cunningham had to tell her to beat it. Like, y'all have got to get. We don't need y'all policing everything, okay? This is not high school. This is relax. This is unnecessary. Y'all been doing too much. She had to tell you, relax. Look, get up out of my face. Go away. She told her, go away. Indiana Fever assistants, y'all got to find something else to do. Okay, now here's where things get tricky, and the word semantics. So they're going to tell you, hey, it's up, 1 million viewers, it's up. Now remember what it replaced. Sunday Night Baseball is averaging substantially more viewers. They got rid of it. Sunday Night Baseball is averaging substantially more viewers, though. That shouldn't come as much of a surprise considering NBC airs games over the air on a Nielsen-only basis. Sunday Night Baseball averaged 2.71 million viewers over the same 3 weeks, rising to 3.1 million average viewers when including Adobe Analytics measured streaming on Peacock. Good. And I think this whole situation with Caitlin Clark plays a major role in this whole situation. ESPN, this Sunday night women's sports thing, has lost them 2 million viewers on average. This is crazy. This is all crazy. Had y'all built the league up right, leaned into the superstar in Caitlin Clark, you might not be having this problem. You might not be having this problem.